Friends, it is Laura Patricia Martin. Let's talk about relationships and breakups and all the things that are going. I know I'm being silly right now, but actually my heart is breaking on the floor. Let's talk about breakups and relationships. So my partner and I have decided to close our relationship. Well, basically he decided, like, I don't want to paint that picture like, oh, it was mutual and this whole thing. It's like, it was not, but we have different, we're different puzzle pieces and it just didn't work out. And that's okay. And so what I want to talk about now is like what's working, what's not. You know, we just went through our conscious uncoupling yesterday, which if you have a conversation with, like, what that means is like we had a conversation. It was a 4-hour conversation of just like walking through our relationship, of just what we appreciate, what our favorite memories are, you know, what we hope for the other in the future, and just closing it. You know, we often get trapped in this thing of like, we need chaos and it's easier to be angry to close a relationship. And in all honesty, I was in that boat because we hadn't spoken for about 4 days. He had ghosted me, so I thought. But he was doing his own healing things, and communication, not his strong suit in that department. He's attached avoidant, so it's all those kind of things. But we had our conversation yesterday, and it's one of those beautiful things where it's like, I didn't answer the phone when he first called me on yesterday, because I was like, oh, like, it's easier to end this if I'm angry with him. It's easier. Because at that time, it is. But anger is just the compound emotion of fear at the end of the day. And so is my fear actually going to be healed? No. If I don't address it, no. It's going to carry with me into my other relationships. Because I believe in a love story of the ages. I know that's what's coming. I know what's coming. Speak of the devil. And so it's one of those things to be able to sit there where it's like, I don't want the fear of that anger, because that's all the anger is at the end of the day, to carry with me. Hi. Speak of the devil. And I want to be able to have, you know, the release of that so we can enter into the next chapters of our lives with conscious awareness, right? Not carrying things through. And so we often have this stance of like, let's just like have it blow up, because it's so much easier if that's what it is. And it's not, because our vibration in our nervous system is going to be carried with us if that's what we do. That chaos, that anger, that resentment, that fear, that not belonging, that, you know, not being chosen, all these kind of inner childhood things are going to come up and carry with us into that next chapter if we don't sit with them. And so, you know, finally called him back. I was like, okay, let's set up the time and let's have this conversation. Because looking at a situation and remembering how beautiful something is, even if it doesn't match, makes it safe, makes it set the tone. Because at the end of the day, any heartbreak, it's an invitation. There is such a richness within grief. There is such a richness within solitude, within the quietness of our time, so that we don't carry these dynamics from relationship to relationship. Because I was one of those people that was like, why does this always happen to me? Why are my relationships always chaotic and people cheating and doing all this kind of stuff, and really kind of, you know, painting this whole narrative? And it was like, well, let's look at, have you actually dealt with that? Have you healed it? So I had a relationship before I had met Elvis. I had a relationship with this man. It was very violent. It was very toxic. It was the epitome of realizing my nervous system was really jacked up and I needed to do something about my life. And so after that ended, I was gutted. But I just jumped into creating this business, into other things. And, you know, I didn't actually sit with, I wasn't single for long either. I jumped into a relationship with a really good man. A really good man that I shouldn't have done that. And I remember the first time when he told me he loved me, I looked at him back and I said, why did you do that? Which is not what you want to hear when someone says they love you. And to see how that narrative played out, and to see how my selfish heart protection needs and my things like that, feeling like I couldn't open my heart, I couldn't do these things, I was undeserving, all these kind of things. To see how I treated him and what I dragged him, like, it was just heartbreaking. And that is the moment everything in my relationship patterning, nervous system work, trauma work changed. I spent 2 years learning about attachment styles and codependency and trauma and nervous system regulation and all of these things, because I realized my actions are affecting other people, and I can't do that anymore. And thank goodness, like, I still was able to get lunch with him and close that chapter before I left Thailand, and just be like, I am, like, to you it might not seem like anything, but to me it changed my life. And that's what's so powerful when we look at our relationship habits and our dynamics, and to just sit there and be like, wow, like, I own this. And this does not excuse, right? Like, it doesn't excuse if you have someone that cheats you, or it's violent, or it's, all these kind of things that may have happened. Like, that does not excuse bad behavior. But that's also a nervous system dysregulation, right? Like, that's just two triggers meeting each other. And if we actually want to change the way we relate to other people, whether it is, romantic partnership, or it could be friendships, or it could be the relationship you have with your phone and your TV and, your parents and your family and your, sisterhood and, like, your little community you have online, like, or a big community, whatever. Any of that kind of stuff, like, it is how we relate to ourselves and how we get regulated within ourselves that becomes this sacred thing. Like, I have been going through grief. I have been so gutted going through this process, and supported and full and all the things. Knowing that there's evolution and growth on the other side, knowing that this is that portal of activation, knowing that, love at the end of the day, it'll hurt. It'll hurt when it's not there. And our biggest fear is this kind of ending, this moment right now, what I am going through. Our biggest fear is that. What if the person I love doesn't love me back? What if I'm sitting in that? And we close our hearts off to that, but love is just an extension of who you are. Because of those 2 years, of taking care of myself, of doing this work, of, doing the work that I teach you inside of Sacred Singlehood, because of that work, I will be okay. I don't even know what okay means. Like, it's such a blasé fucking statement, but, like, I will be happy. I will be safe. I will be regulated. I will be loved. I will be whole. I will belong. I am chosen. I am all of these things, right? It's not even I will, I am. And I can have compassion for the inner child inside of me that's, like, fighting and kicking and screaming and doing all the things, while also sitting here as the woman being like, we are okay. This was just an extension. It does not define. And it's okay, because if it's not this, it's something better. And I hold that belief to my core for each and every one of us. And so if you're going through the ringer and if you're sitting on that and we're chasing these relationships to find this validation, to find these things without actually healing these wounds, and we might even not call them wounds, but if you really look at your relationship patternings and you sit there and we're constantly having the same things come forward, that's where we have to sit in that ownership and just be like, why does this keep coming up? What do I want to learn from this? Who do I want to be to myself along that journey of awareness? Because sometimes we sit there and we're a bitch to ourselves, and you really don't have to be a bitch. Like, it's better if you're your best friend and you sit there and you're like, you're strong and we learn and this is what we go. Like, being your partner in crime, like, that is powerful beyond belief. And then you get to create this safety of welcoming in deep love, because we can only welcome in as deep of love that we feel. Like, we can only feel that to the extent of which we're willing to feel pain. And I know that's terrifying, but to be able to hold something, we have to be able to hold the capacity of both ends. This is why nervous system regulation is so helpful. This is why actually understanding, why we are the way we are, how to reprogram our subconscious, how to utilize tools and strategies so that we feel safe, even in turmoil, even when you prayed God and asked for a quantum crumble and he's like, sure, here. And you're like, oh, already. Like, even in those moments, you are safe, no matter what. We live in a life that is uncertain. And we think love is going to be this foundation, and it is. I'm not going to lie about that. Like, being in love is this freedom, right? Like, having so many choices is not actually freedom. Like, being in, like, that is freedom, but at the end of the day, that doesn't define your freedom. You do. And how you lead yourself and how you show up and all these kind of things. And so if you're someone that's like sitting there and it's just like, I want to take responsibility for the person that I am, and I want to be the most available, most heart open, most grounded, most authentic, most playful, most curious. I want to feel this love. I want to lead this way. I want to show up comfortable. I want to show up confident. I want to have these things. Know that that is so available for you. You just have to take the leap. And I got you, you know, like, I will catch you. And if my work aligns with you, you can reach out. I have Sacred Singlehood, which starts on April 4th. I almost said 14th, April 4th. And that's our 3-week journey, or we have one-on-one mentorship. Like, there's so many different capacities to really start to regulate this. But when you have a deep relationship with yourself, everything is okay. And I know I hate that, like, okay, but like, everything is safe. Everything is expansive. Everything creates this curiosity and this trust. This is the foundation of everything. There's a difference between only like doing mindset work and doing these things and actually getting your body to feel safe in these moments of uncertainty and chaos and wonder. And so if you want to embark on a 3-week journey with heart-centered women that are doing the most epic fucking shit in this world, it's an intimate group. You get live support just like this, so you're supported. You get to ask your questions, you get to personalize the experience, you get lifetime access, you get downloadables, you get journals, so you have this integration time. Like, it is not this woo-woo, like, womb healing energy thing, because that is not my vibe. But it is this practical solutions for the daily life, no matter where you are. If you're at your job, or you're with your family, or you're doing these things, like, you can drop in and you can see where this stuff starts to happen, so that you can truly heal and revitalize this part of yourself and feel safe and home. So if that sounds like you, just reach out. You can DM me a little heart. And we can have a conversation. I'll send you the link. Probably send you some voice notes, because I like being chatty sometimes. Not that much lately, but most times. Other than that, if you're looking for like higher level mentorship, that is where that's where we collapse time in the healing, and we do things that are absolutely magic to the soul. And, you know, we go through getting safe in the moment so we could build resiliency for the future. It is bananas what that work does, and the women that walk with me on that journey. So any of these, all of these, and if you do one-on-one, you do get all access to any programs that go through your 3 or 6 month journey. So you get Sacred Singlehood, which would be banging. But that is it. I'm gonna sit in a little puddle, probably have a bath, and learn some cool shit. So I love you. I hope to see you on the other side. Happy healings.